Welcome into this exciting edition of the Podster Monday. It is, I guess it's Primary Eve Day because, of course, tomorrow here, all across not only the state, but a good portion of the country is going to go to the polls for primary challenges that are happening. And today, again, I am honored and privileged. We had him on just a couple of weeks ago, and it was a wonderful conversation. So we've decided to bring Mr. Barry back. Barry Sanders, ladies and gentlemen, who is the chairman of the Oconee County Republican Party. And Barry, welcome aboard again, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me back, and thank you for everyone out there.
Well, we had a great conversation the last time we were here, and now it's getting down to the crux of things because tomorrow, of course, the polls open at 7 a.m. in the primaries here, and I'm going to let you have it. I'm going to let you start off, and then we'll jump right in if I've got questions, because you've got a lot of information I think that the folks need to listen to, need to hear.
All right. So we're going to try to keep this strictly to Oconee County, but there's a lot on the national stage and the state stage that we need to talk about, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
The first, I want to focus in on the national. We're going to talk about the state Senate. The U.S. Senate race.
Right.
And we're going to talk about two candidates in particular. One's Lindsey Graham. One's Mark Lynch. And I don't care what side of the aisle where you line with either one of those. It really doesn't matter. What's concerning, and I think this is the most interesting thing, is there's an event being held where Lindsey Graham, a U.S. senator, and this is his hometown. This is where he lives. Mm-hmm. We have not been able to connect and bring him in for town hall to let folks know and his constituents know and hear from the senator himself. So there's an event that's held at Skins Hot Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And for the life of me, this, and maybe Jeff, I'm relatively new to South Carolina, but I wasn't born yesterday.
Right.
Tell me what universe a U.S. senator who's in I'm going to call it a challenging primary race, goes to a hot dog stand in the hometown to try to get people out to vote. Where was he 6 months ago? So let's start there, because I want to pick on the choice of venue first and the timing. Tell me, did I miss something along the way?
Well, okay, let me go back. This is a typical. This has happened before. This is what Lindsey's done in history. I mean, again, Skins Hot Dogs, great hot dog place, by the way.
No doubt.
We can eat hot dogs all day long at Skins, but. Are you familiar with the old term political stump meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Because in South Carolina, that's kind of like what it used to be, called a political stump meeting. However, I know where you're heading with this, and it would seem to me that he would have at least come over and had some sort of rally where he would rally the troops. You only see Lindsey, unfortunately, at election time. And when you get him here, it's like, okay, well, I'm here. Thank you so much, and then it's on to the next adventure. Looking outside perspective, it kind of reminds me of somebody that only comes around when they want something, and they leave and they forget about you for the next several years after you've given them what they wanted.
Okay, so here's the way I'm going to look at it. Number one, Lindsey Graham ain't Santa Claus. He ain't coming once a year. Number two, he ain't a groundhog that you only hear about one day a year. All right?
I love it.
No, I'm dead serious.
You're serious, but no, I get it. I get it.
Okay, I understand you get the concept, but I hope you understand there is something fundamentally wrong where there's a breach of the public trust, where you have a senator who. We're not saying he's going to be attacked, and I'm going to talk about that post in just a second, but we're not saying he's going to be attacked, but you have folks who want to express, whether it's Israel, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's comments made recently. I mean, there's a lot going on there, and we have deaf ears. The voice of the grassroots here in Oconee County is being ignored. That's bottom line.
Agreed.
Bottom line. Then there's a post that came out, and there's a relatively new president of the OCRM. He puts in there, and this is what caught my eye, was he says, this is a respectful and a non-contentious or non-controversial, meeting. And I'm like, for you to caveat that, there's something fundamentally wrong, assuming that there's 2 points to that. Number one, you're asking people to be quiet and come listen to the candidate and not express. There's a lot that's not being heard from the grassroots. You're basically saying top-down approach. And I got a problem with that. That's a philosophy that says, look, you're here to hear the candidate and that's it. There's no questions. Fine. Okay. I can get that off of YouTube. If I'm going to go somewhere,
right.
I mean, there's going to
Exactly.
be an interaction that he's going to look me in the eye, and I don't care what the question is. I could talk about anything, but the point is, it doesn't mean I'm not going to be respectful. It basically says, Jeff, you're a smart guy. You have questions. You'd like answers, and you're not getting them. Okay, so that post kind of set wrong with me, and I'll tell you why. It's because you're setting it up to say he'll only come under these conditions. And when you start having conditions for an elected official, that elected official may not be well suited for that position because you're his boss. You, as a voter here in South Carolina, you sign his paycheck. And if he's not willing to come into the boss's office to hear what his job performance, we got a problem. And I think that's what it is he doesn't want to hear it. He wants to do his thing, and let's just call it what it is. It almost sounds as if Lindsey Graham looks at the people of Seneca as beneath him.
Well, I'll tell you another problem. He's been there for almost 30-something years. When is enough, it's too long. And that's the problem that we get into a lot of times with our elected representatives. We just keep electing the same thing over and over, but yet when you start asking hard questions or you need answers about things, it's just like the deer in the headlight look. I don't know.
But if that's the case, where you're getting your information is an echo chamber, you're isolating and insulating yourself from the people that have the issues. Jeff, if Lindsey was here, I'm sure you could spend an hour and a half just asking them rudimentary questions that people want to know. We don't see it. And to go to and Skins is great. I've had many a hot dog there. Trust me, you can see the evidence here.
Well,
my
what
brother.
you're saying is you would like to see more of the example, and I'll throw this out here, the town halls, where he shows up, he talks to the constituents, he answers questions, and again, we are now seeing that in certain aspects of Oconee County local. Matt Durham and all of those have had the town hall meetings, and that's what we asked about 4 years ago. Is just have a conversation with us, keep us informed of what's happening in, for example, Washington D.C. How does it affect Oconee County, South Carolina? And I in 10 years, I can't tell you the first time that's happened with Lindsey Graham. Seriously, I don't remember. Now, Sherry Biggs, our current representative, has had town hall meetings. She's had teleconference where you can get on and listen. I have actually been able to talk to her for about 3 times and had great conversations, open, honest, and wants to hear from what's going on.
Exactly.
But Lindsey Graham, that's not been that way in 10, 15 years because he feels that he's invincible. He feels that no one can take him down. Even if you take a look at all the political ads he's running, he's only honed in on one thing. It's either about Mark Lynch's record or I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm born and raised here. I've seen it.
So my question is this: you've got a sitting U.S. senator, and his campaign right now is, "I'm not Mark Lynch." That's what he's saying. There's not, or you'll see things where it says, Trump said Lindsey's great, this, that, and the other. Okay, fine. My point is, there's questions that need to be answered. Let's talk about his record, good and bad. I mean, let's be fair. But right now, the only message that's getting out about Lindsey Graham is Mark Lynch had a drug arrest back in the 1980s. Okay, we all did things in the 1980s, brother. If you were around, I mean, let's be honest. Okay, so the point is, we all outgrew it and moved on. The thing I'm looking here to say is, there's something, and I'm holding your listeners accountable, because I'm saying it's your responsibility to hold these people accountable, and there's a miss. There's a huge miss. This guy has obviously obfuscated and put himself in an echo chamber where he's being surrounded by people that agree with him. That needs to be broken down. Those walls need to be broken down. And Jeff, he needs to come, like on this podcast. I think you would be respectful. I think you would be nice. I think you would answer fair questions, and there would be answers. Biggs doesn't have a problem doing it.
Nope.
Why do we have a senator who's running from his own voters? I have an issue with that one.
Has he done anything across the state? that we know of?
I've seen them like in Myrtle Beach. I've seen one or two times in Charleston, but I've not seen anything where. And by the way, I'm going to stop right there. All of these events have been staged. They're his friendly folk and things like this. This is not a mixed crowd. This is not representative.
So he doesn't want to take the real questions. It's kind of like he's evading the real questions of the real constituents that have the real issues.
And I do believe that the voters were robbed of an opportunity in this campaign to hear both sides of it. Mark Lynch has made himself available. Thomas, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Miss Dukes, misstep. I don't want to. Yeah. I mean, something like that. I get it.
You're gonna have to help me with that pronunciation. I'm bad with names anyway, and
Yeah.
they'll tell you that. But the point is, these people are out there and they're getting their voice heard. But yet, the one person we do need to hear the most from didn't come out to play at all. Matter of fact, he played groundhog, saw a shadow, and ran back in.
Well, the only time you're ever going to get to see him is on Face the Nation, Fox and Friends, and all of that on Sunday mornings, and I know that very well.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so we've got the Senate race going on.
Yeah.
What's the next thing we want to talk about
Let's
here?
Let's go to the governor.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Where do I begin? Let me start and say.
Yeah, you first, because
Let me just say for this one, I do not want another Lieutenant Junior Government McMaster of Foghorn Leghorn.
Wow. Okay. So this is what the rumor and innuendo is. But basically, what happened is you had this redistricting in the 6th district for Clyburn's.
Yeah, Jim Clyburn.
And Trump wanted it. Okay, and deservedly so. So what happened is that McMaster wouldn't call a special session because it was winding down at the end of the General Assembly. So there's a deal struck that said, hey, Trump will give the endorsement to Evitt, and Evitt will choose Junior as her running mate. So you have this family dynasty. And so McMaster does it. He knows darn well there's some senators who aren't going to go with it, and he puts it out there. Evitt gets the endorsement. Junior gets the ticket on the nod. And by the way, the things I've seen about Junior are not exactly filling me and inspiring me full of promise and hope for the future.
None of it is.
Yeah. We talk about filling the potholes. I don't think Junior has the ability to fill one pothole.
I'm not sure. I agree with you there. I think you're correct on that.
I'd hand him a shovel and he'd say what end to use. I'd be like, okay, there's a problem.
I mean, I think our voters are pretty knowledgeable. I think that they actually saw right through that, because I saw the comments all across social media like, goodness gracious, is that the best we can do? There's other candidates, and Ralph Norman. I really love listening to him and his vision and his philosophy. He is my top candidate right now. That's actually, I'll tell you this, I actually voted for Ralph.
Good.
Because I think Ralph has got the best interest of South Carolina, and I don't think he's going to give Scout Motors millions and millions and millions of dollars and no return on investment. So I heard him when he came here, and he's been out everywhere across the state campaigning. He's been forefront. Alan Wilson came. I'm going to say Alan, I think, is okay. He's give me some vibes a little bit throughout even when he was currently Attorney General for the state of South Carolina. There is a few issues there in some of the things. Nancy Mace, that one right there really scares me, because I think she's crazy in some aspects. I mean, is that the best? I think.
Give me your impression of Rom Reddy.
Ain't no way in hell.
Okay, so
there's just something about him. It's even worse. I kind of feel like that's a Nikki Haley, except it's a man.
So Rom Reddy started with Doge, South Carolina, and it was a great thing. But now they're finding out that it was basically a primer to run. So there's a lot of people that feel betrayal on that one. There are some people that I've talked to that are big fans of his, because he's very straight shooter, this sort of thing. There's been some missteps in his campaign. We have to acknowledge that. But Rom Reddy got into politics because he wanted a seawall in his backyard
imagine that, a politician wanting something. I got it.
Okay, so that got him mad, and that got him motivated. There was no principle that said, hey, I wanted to do this is what I wanted to do. So that's a problem with me, is that he's not he's not bringing forth the principles associated to say, I want a good campaign that you can get behind and say, that's a leader I want to get behind. Nancy Mace, I've heard her speak twice. I've had conversations with Nancy. I have friends that are very good Nancy Mace supporters, and I've listened. I've listened with an open mind, and it's just not connecting for me. And I'll explain to you why, Jeff. It's not that I think that she's unstable. That's not what this is. What my concern is, I think Nancy would have a hard time getting anything accomplished with the typical South Carolina politics we have in mind. I think the swamp is just way too deep in Columbia. And I think you echo that same thing. It is going to take somebody at multiple different levels to take out the swamp. The reforms that are needed in South Carolina to get our roads paved, to improve our schools, and to improve quality of life and reduce taxes, that all has to be done at the executive and the legislative level. And we also have to clean up with judicial reform. Jeff, I just don't think that she's got enough support. I think it would overwhelm her. I think she would get so frustrated, and that corruption is just so deep there. So
that corruption also goes local too.
Oh yeah.
That corruption that you're referring to, it starts off national, then it goes to the state, and then we're seeing sensitive issues right now locally. And folks that have watched this podcast know what I'm referring to, that's happening right now in Oconee County. You got one side that historically has been, non-transparent. Now they're transparent. I'm referring to Oconee County government. I mean, it's wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is open, and the books are here, and the conversations had. But then you go to some of the local municipalities, and it's a whole different world.
If you wanted to talk about, we will get to talk
We're going to.
Okay.
Yeah, we will.
We'll drill down as we go. Oh, yeah.
I promise you.
Alan Wilson, he is who the establishment is putting forward.
Yeah.
And that's just more of the same to me.
It is. I absolutely agree.
I think there needs to be some change. I think there needs to be some definite reforms. The one thing I'll tell you about Alan Wilson was there were some issues at the Charleston County GOP convention last year, and he was there and he didn't do anything about it. That's very concerning and a tell for me. That's a huge red flag, meaning there was something that went down. He did not jump in and fix it. He said he was a guest there, and I get it. But when something like that happens, it needs to be fixed. It needs to be corrected. And what happened there got roots, and now it's gone across the state. So I have an issue with that. Norman has his flaws, just like everybody else. I've gotten to know Norman on a personal basis and his family. He seems like a good guy. Okay. His supporters are ardent supporters. They love him. I mean, we're talking, Ralph Norman could have a church the way it's going right now. He is beloved. So I think he's one of the conservative choices. If you really look at it, you've got Evett and Wilson on one side, that's the establishment, and you've got Norman and Mace on the other. And I think what's going to end up happening is after tomorrow night, you're going to have a runoff, and it's going to be one from each side. I don't see two on a silo.
I do. I agree. We know that the governor's race is going to go to a runoff. We're already aware of that. But the biggest thing is when you go to these runoffs is getting the voters back out again. It is absolutely almost next to impossible under runoffs. They just don't come out and vote.
No, and I think that's going to be the interesting thing is you're asking the voters of this state, number one, to put them in the top two on the 9th, and number two, when we turn around in 2 weeks, you're asking them to come back and vote again. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's going to be the key. The question is, who's got more commitment? Who's got more conviction? Is it going to be the voters or the conservatives for Norman or Wilson
or the establishment? But I get it.
Yeah, they're going to work their mechanics, and they're going to work their mechanisms to get their folks out there. And there's going to be all kinds of text and email sent, go make your votes and stuff like that. I get it, but at the same time, Do you honestly think that Evett is going to, if she's out of the race, do you think that she's going to back Wilson?
That's a tough call. That's a real tough call.
Or do you think Evett's people are going to cross over to Wilson? I could see Evett's people crossing over to Norman or Mace.
I think it'd be a split. I think you would have a select few that would support Ralph, and then I think you would have a select few that would support Allen. So again, then we're in another ballpark when we go to that runoff. If there's not enough of those voters, we still have an issue.
So let's flip it. Let's put Evett on the establishment side. Do you think Wilson people are going to support Evett?
No.
What do you think? How do you think that's going to go?
That's going to be the same thing. It's an X's and O's game here. You're dealing with tic-tac-toe.
Well, I'm looking at Jimmy's and Joe's, and the Jimmy's and Joe's that are with Wilson, I don't think are going to cross over to Evett because Wilson, for anything personally or anything like this, he is qualified. He is an attorney general. Yeah. He is a lawyer. He has combat experience. I get it. Mm-hmm. They're going to look at Evett and say, she's fluff. You know, we've tried it. We tasted it. We don't like it. We spit it out. That's what the Wilson folks are going to say. So then they're not going to go with the crazy people because they're saying, oh, no, the crazy conservatives out there in the state, they're going with Norman or Mace. And like you said, there is no appetite for Mace on the establishment side. So that's a huge thing.
I think Pam hurt herself. Of course, this was a backdoor deal already when she made the announcement that Governor McMaster's son was going to be on the ticket. There's a lot of folks that just doesn't really care for Governor McMaster.
There's also, if you look at the Vegas betting line, she is a heavy favorite right now. And I'm like, okay, what are you seeing in Vegas that we're not in South Carolina?
I'm not taking that bet at all. Again, this is the first time, though, that we've had this kind of governor's race in South Carolina. Historically, we've had McMaster for how many years now? 8?
Yeah, and then you had Haley, right?
Yeah, we had Haley, and then we go back even further than that. So Mark Sanford, oh boy, what a trip that was. That gives a whole new meaning of hiking on the Appalachian Trail. If folks will remember that. So again, anything's possible. By the way, going back to the Senate race, do you think that it could possibly go into a runoff?
A month ago, I would have said yes. I think that the negative campaign ads, and they're relentless. There's maybe in a 24-hour period, 70 to 80 instances where you're seeing them on streaming services or Roku or Sling or whatever. You're seeing these, and I don't know if Lindsey Graham has run that type of race in the past where it's just a relentless onslaught against and Mark Lynch he's not an elected official. This is not like a congressman running against a senator.
Right.
Jeff, this is a businessman out there, and boy, they're pouring it on. With that much deluge, right now I would probably say we're not. But it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if we did, because like I said, I think there's an anti-establishment sentiment across the state that is, I think it's deep, I think it's wide, and I think the establishment did themselves no favors in the last couple of years. Their actions and their behaviors over the last couple of years have caused such a schism in the party right now. The conservatives don't want anything to do with them. They don't. They are fired up, and when you get these people fired up, they're going to turn out. So it wouldn't shock me if it does go to a runoff, and by God, if it does go to a runoff, I think you're looking at a new senator.
I agree with that.
But
but the thing of it is, historically, we've said it before. We didn't think Lindsey Graham was going to be reelected, and doggone it, he goes in and wins big time. So it's if the citizens are tired and they want to make a change, then the change will happen. And for me, I think it's time for new leadership.
Absolutely.
We've been doing this same thing for 30-something years. Thank you, Lindsey, for what you've done. I appreciate you, but it's time to move on. 30-something years with the same senator, I mean, in South Carolina, we historically, if we go back to Strom Thurmond, same thing. It was time for new leadership. And you're right about the establishment. I'm tired of the establishment. I'm tired of the establishment not looking out for my interest, my best interest. It seems like that when the wind blows, it's wherever they want to go. I want somebody that's going to represent me, number one, that's going to make sure that we all have low taxes, that we're not having to pay anything unnecessarily. Law enforcement, fire, all of those are the good components of good government. Make policies that work for the citizens. And right now, the establishment, for ever how long you want to look at it, some of these policies are just absolutely atrocious. It's affected the bottom line. One of these policies, in particular in our state government, is this thing about the liquor liability for all the bars and stuff like that. That's hurt. When you get together, you can't make a sound decision for the people. Sometimes I feel like the people has been lost in this translation, and we're the ones that elect these people to represent us.
So if I was to look at the core issues regarding the establishment and the failures of the establishment, let's look no further than redistricting. That should have been an easy one. Easy one. Couldn't do it.
Nope. You're right.
Let's talk about judicial reform. Why are your law buddies in the same firm representing both the judge and a trial attorney? I don't get that. That's a strange one for me. Then I want to look at closed primaries last time. Right now, the way it's set up, your establishment wants it to get as close as it can to the finish line, but not bring it over, because they are paid and they're compensated, because the more lobbying dollars are brought in, the more they can raise funds. They say, well, we're just so close, we just need a few more dollars to get over the finish line. No, Jeff, it was done from the beginning. I told somebody that there's not going to be any redistricting long for this. I said, you're going to go through all these shenanigans. You're going to have a lot of false hope, but it's going to get crushed at the end.
I could have told you that. I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
And
The writing was on the wall, because all you had to do is see, even before the special callback session, the writing was on the wall. I knew when they were called back in that this would not pass. It would not go.
Absolutely.
It would never go forward.
Absolutely, and it should have been an easy one. To be honest with you, you have a supermajority, and then all of a sudden you have folks that are coming out saying, no, we don't want it because it's going to push back the election. So what? Okay, it's a few weeks. But no, it's you already have people voting. Well, okay, they wanted to make a deal. They got their bones. They got their political favors, but yet you have 6 Republicans and 1 Democrat when you really should have 7 and 0.
Yeah.
That should be it. But people in Dorchester, Allendale, Bamberg counties, they're the ones who suffer because they really do not have the representation that they should at this point. So that's a huge problem. The establishment has basically sold out your interest to special interest. Mm-hmm. You are the voice of the grassroots. You have been ignored, and reform in the party, and there's some great freedom fighters, and the Freedom Caucus does a great job, and people like Adam Duncan and Bill Whitmire, they're trying their best to do certain things. But until you have a governor, an AG, and a legislator that basically says we're all reforming now, you're going to have more of this issue, and the establishment's going to smile, and then they're going to come back to you and say, Jeff, you're the problem. You're the divisive ones. You're the ones.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're saying, why just can't get along? And you're like, because I believe what I believe, and you're asking me to sell out my beliefs and values
to conform to them,
to bend the knee.
Yeah,
to bend the knee. Absolutely. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. You're not saying that it has to be your way. You're saying I just want to be heard.
I want to be heard, but I also want it to be fair for everybody, not just me.
Exactly.
I want it to be fair for everybody, and right now the establishment isn't fair for no one.
Except themselves.
Except themselves. They're the ones lining their back pockets with the change.
Exactly. And the point is, until the establishment is weeded out and the swamp is drained, you're always going to get to that line. You're always going to have hope, and it will be dashed from you.
And that's the way it's been for many years that I can recall. We get it so close for that reform that we need, and then all of a sudden it's It's just like a dangled rope in front of us, like a fish. You're dangling a hook, and then it's pulled right back. Well, we can't do that, or it's going to do this, this, and this.
Until the conservatives of South Carolina band together and they coalesce and they say enough's enough, and we've got to stand on the principles, and we've got to have strong principled leadership, Jeff, you're going to have a problem. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing it. Your roads are not going to get paved. You're going to have more Scout Motors. You're going to have more Somerset nuclear facilities. You're going to have, okay. Why on earth at this point in June of 2026 do you have 6 congressional seats for the GOP and 1 for the Democratic when you had a special session not 3 or 4 weeks ago? Can anybody tell me what the rationale is that you could not go in and fix your redistricting? Because right now, it is gerrymandered. Let's be honest, it is gerrymandered. And you'll hear different sides, but if you really listen to it closely, and I'm sure you have, it doesn't hold water.
I know.
It sounds good. It sounds really good, but it doesn't hold water. So I'm with that one. On let's do the AG race real quick.
Yep.
We got 3 guys in here. We've got Stumbo, Pasco, and Goldfinch. Goldfinch is a genetics guy. He's been in the military with it. I don't think he's going to get enough muster. The question is, are they going to have a runoff? And Pasco and Stumbo are like this. It's establishment conservative once again. Pasco has some of the most diehard followers I have ever seen. We're talking like Reagan-esque, loyalty, and they will follow him forever. Stumbo really don't have anything bad to say about the guy. He confused the OCRM OCRW with the OCRP.
I did see that.
That was a screw up, but we can let that one.
Well, there's
pass.
a lot of people, unfortunately, that think the same thing.
Well,
they think it's all one and the same.
So I started getting. They had a thing on May 30th, and it was over at South Cove. And Jeff, it sounded like a real good event, and we're pleased on it. I started getting calls in mid-May, and it was basically, "What the hell are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "What about this thing at South Cove? You're charging $20 for a stump meeting." And I was like, "Not me, Kemosabe." And so I started talking to some of the campaigns, and I said, "Look," and what universally came back is they kept saying, "We're Oconee County Republicans. We're Oconee County Republicans." They were making it sound like they were the official party. And I was like, no, this is not a party event. And so when you're saying and portraying yourself as the party, of course you're going to get that. Well, they were clubs. They're 2 social clubs. They have every right to exist. I'm fine with it, but I don't think you should portray yourself as the Republican Party.
That's what they're doing.
Well, that's what they did. That's what they did.
And they've been doing that.
So
this isn't the first conversation that I've had with this.
Well, guess what? So I said, no, it ain't us. And, we don't charge. We have open free events. Come on. I don't care. So it goes on. And then at this event, now this is where it gets, you have this establishment person get up and say, we have certain groups in Oconee County, or a certain group in Oconee County, group of people that are the cause of the division and dividing the party, and we need to come together. In essence, what they were saying is, Jeff, I want you to check your transparency door. I want you to check your character. I want you to check your integrity, and I want to check your courage. You need to strip them off, and you need to go there and just blindly comply, okay? And that's servitude to me. That's basically saying, okay, Jeff, I don't want your issues. I don't want your personality. I just want your time and your money and your vote and your support. I'm like, okay, there's a problem. There is a problem. You're basically asking for blind obedience and allegiance. And I'm like, The people in Oconee County, they're smart, they're talented, and yes, they're passionate. If you started listening to them, good things happen. But your establishment right now, and especially those groups, are not. They are closing their ears, and it could be the best idea in the world, but if it comes from the conservatives right now in Oconee County, forget it. It won't be applied. And I want to focus on that for 1 second, getting really local. These groups have backed a candidate who is 19 years old.
Correct.
Jeff, I don't think I'm qualified at this point to be on county council. Okay. At 19, I sure as hell haven't. You haven't. That you're promoting an inexperienced, I'm going to call it an unqualified person to run for county council, and you're backing them. If this person's elected, we are almost guaranteeing the people of the 3rd district are going to be, they're going to suffer because of that decision. They're not going to get right representation. I'm not saying anything about the young man's qualifications in terms of his talent. I'm saying he doesn't have it right now. He doesn't have the ability for that discernment to say, look, this is a multi-million-dollar budget. He's never had to budget. Okay. If
He still lives at home. He going to school. The education aspect is what bothers me, is that he is a college freshman. He should attend to his schooling, his education. Once his education's complete, he comes back, he gets a job here, he volunteers, he serves, he puts money, he pays property taxes. Mm-hmm. Then let's have a conversation.
Exactly. But a group that is touting him up and pushing him forward, first thing is, you're not doing the young man any favors. There are great positions that this young man will be great for in a couple of years. Like you said, get some experience under his belt, run for school board, do something like that. Number 2, why do these groups push this guy forward?
Because they hate the other.
Because it's not Don Mize. Let's just say it like it is.
Well, no, they hate Matt Durham. They hate everybody up there. You know, I have
So
said
you're going to
this.
make the people of the 3rd district suffer,
Yeah,
Jeff?
they are.
Think about it.
They
Are you
are.
in the 3rd district?
Yes, I am. I
Okay,
vote.
so I'm going to hit you right between the eyes. Do you think that group who does not live in the 3rd district, who's promoting this guy, has your best interest in mind?
They don't. They don't. I ran against Don 4 years ago. Close election, lost by 18. In the whole election, I saw the division. I knew what was going on. 2022 was a very tough year for Oconee County. I had my issues with Matt, but you know what? A simple conversation and a simple apology from both sides. Matt and I and the rest of them, we were able to come across the aisle and do. It's not about it's about what is right for Oconee County. And these people, a majority of them, don't even live in District 3.
No.
They don't live in District 3.
So my question is to you, has anyone from that side, the establishment side, came to you and said, look, Jeff, District 3, what do you think and how are you facing it? And tell us, what it is. There was no outreach to the grassroots over there. Okay? I'm telling you, you're absolutely right. It was that there was so much hate and vitriol and animosity toward the current council because they were going to take anybody they could to do this, and they put the young man out there. And I'm saying shame on them for doing that, because they put a young man who has a lot of potential.
He does.
And they have destroyed his political career doing this.
Well, the thing of it too is they keep bringing up the hit piece concerning the issue about the father buying property from the developer that's trying to force 5,000 homes down Oconee County's throat. I don't consider that a hit piece. What I consider that is, you better open up your eyes and see what's happening right in front of you. I don't want to have a candidate, even with the possibilities of that whole issue coming forward, and it never was disclosed either.
Well, I have a problem on multiple fronts with this. Not per se the hit piece. That's fine. I have a problem the way it was handled. If I was running, I would have taken a look at the hit piece and said, "Thank you very much for letting me know who bought it." Mm-hmm. And that would have been the end of it.
Yep.
To come back with the anger and this, you're basically saying there's something wrong. And then I saw things where it says, here's the listing at one price, here's the listing at another price, and then all of a sudden it jumps up 20% and sells. Okay. On that one, that's not part of the hit piece. That was something that came in after that. And Jeff, when that was brought out, what the correct response would have been, yes, I made a profit of it. Like I said, I don't know who bought it, okay? I had nothing to do with that thing. That's not must. But continuously stand on it.
I know.
You don't.
It's called the maturity factor here.
Well, that's what I keep going back to the 19-year-old. That was something that said, look, you know what? I'm bigger than this. I could handle this just fine. Okay, I didn't know who bought it. I didn't care. I'm getting 20% over what I'm asking. Guess what? I'm selling it. Mm-hmm. That would have been it. And everybody would have been like, cool, I got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Big deal. You sold a piece of property to a developer. So be it, right? Now, why on earth would you put your son or daughter who is 19 years old into politics? I got an issue. That's my issue, is why would you do that? If my 18, 19-year-old son came to me and said, I want to be in politics, I'd be like, oh, no, you're not. No,
I
you're
would
not.
say you're going to stay in school and you're going to get your education first. And once you get your education, you can make your decisions of where you want to spread your wings and fly.
But I just see, I have a problem with people supporting this kid, okay? And like I said, I've had conversations with smart kid, very bright, great future ahead of him. But I think they killed his political career. These people who were out for their own self-interest.
Well, I've been attacked by this group here in the last couple of months because.
Oh, really? What makes you special now?
Because I took a bold move to support what is right for my county. And right now,
Do you feel bad about that?
No, I don't feel bad about it.
So they're attacking you for something that you feel like you're justified. Okay.
But because I am repeating the message that Matt Durham is doing and things that he is doing, which I tend to believe has great significant impacts to help Oconee County for years to come. Number one, getting to the problem of the budget issue, having that forensic audit, having some questions and answers pointed is, how did we get in this fix? Had this been council 5 or 6 years ago, you know what would have happened? It would have been swept under the rug. It would just say, oh, it's a county mistake. And we would have never known the whole full intent of what was going on. I happen to believe that I believe currently all the council members that we have right now are doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. We could be in a situation that another municipality's in, but the good thing of it is we're not. We had a vision, having a county administrator that, number one, actually has experience in government. And I'm talking about Stuart Jones.
Okay.
That was the biggest hire that Oconee County had ever made. We've never had an administrator that had the county government or had government experience, that understood how things work. So those are the things that I look at and say, he's doing the right things for Oconee County. We could be in a mess. We could be Marlboro County right now with all of what they've got going on about their school board, and the state had to come in and take over. But no, by supporting and calling out the right things are being done, I'm still a traitor. They're going to continue to hate Matt Durham regardless, okay? Because he stands up for what he believes in, just like me. Mm-hmm. I call it as I see it. Again, the whole issue that happened before, there was a lot of words that was exchanged, but the thing of it is, apologies. What is the best for this county? Well, the best thing for this county is, let's work together. We have a common ground, and the common ground is you are taking care of people, and they don't like that.
No,
again, they're upset because I didn't feel the need that this is my show, and this is a podcast. It's not on any commercial FM, AM radio station. If it was, it would be a whole different animal. This is my show. It's online. I didn't want to. I had no reason to bring Lyle in or Landon in. Excuse me. I had no reason because I already knew what was going on. I want to talk about the candidate that's going to make the biggest impact, and that is Don Mize. And Don and I ran against each other. But you know, Don has done everything I would have done had I been elected. There's no reason that I should not support him, and that's why I am supporting Don. I want Don to go back in. I want to give him another 4 more years because he's got some things that he's going to have to address with Seneca.
Right. And I that's a big issue with me right now is that this...
There's always a perception of reality that things with Landon and the city of Seneca, the stuff is out there. The perception that they're potentially, and I don't want to say a backdoor deal, but but to the person looking at it, that, well, something's not right. They're already, that sign is there. And then Tuesday night, I see in the city council meeting, I see you address the Democratic person that's running, which is Lee Sheehan, and then Landon. They're there, but was our other two candidates invited to come? But they were glorified. They were glorified on camera by the mayor, and that again, that's on video.
Okay.
When I
you're going to give me a little bit of room here so I can hang myself, okay?
Okay.
So here's where I'm going to say.
Okay.
There is a definite problem here. I'm gonna point to two different directions. Number one, you got a group that's promoting a young man. If he gets in place, he's going to be easily manipulated. Okay, that's just the way young men are. I mean, we know it. You and I both were young men. We understand it. We're not saying anything that is not quintessential and ubiquitous. It is young men are easily fooled and manipulated.
Correct.
Right? Okay. Older men are not. We're a little bit more jaded. We're a little bit more skeptical. We're a little bit more pragmatic.
It's called age. It's called maturity level.
Amen, brother.
It's called that we've played the game. We understand what's at stake.
Yes.
A 19-year-old has not been involved. A 19-year-old cannot go back and see how we got into this mess. They don't understand the history of how politics work in Oconee County. Look, I've been in radio for 35 years right here in Oconee County. I know. I know the history. I know where we got here, how we got here, and I don't want us to continue to go down that road.
Right now with Seneca and the county right now are way too big right now to put somebody in
a 19-year-old, right?
Exactly. And you're
right.
That's the bottom line.
That's it.
I don't want to talk about the hit piece. I don't want to talk about property. I don't want to talk about anything else. What I'm saying is this: you've got some significant issues, and you got further ones coming down the pipe, Jeff, that we'll talk about in future podcasts. But it is far too important to go in with someone inexperienced who could be manipulated, because there's some traps that are out there. You know it, I know it, and they're going to come to light, and we're going to have to discuss them. Okay, and that's just the nature of the beast. We're already going to have somebody new in the, I think it's a first district, which is William Bull.
Yeah,
okay?
I've talked to him. I find him to be a very, very good conservative. Great leadership. I believe in him. He's taken an active interest, and for the folks up in District 1, there's a sense of two different entities here. You have the Kiwi people, and then you have the Salem and Tomasi people. I am finding that he is already trying to bridge that gap. He's already talking to folks in Salem, in Tomasi, and I really like him a lot. I think he's got a good head on his shoulder, and I think he'll do a great representation for the District 1.
For the county council to continue on, you have one new person. They're inexperienced. There's a learning curve associated with this. To put two people on there, and especially someone that young who has this cabal behind them, I have a problem with right now, because the complexion is going to be so tough for the county council to do anything with the issues that they face. You're going to be they're going to be pushing water uphill, and I don't see it, and that's a problem for me. So what I'm saying is, District 3 became a significant race very quickly. I am not liking the fact that somebody has put up a 19-year-old who is inexperienced. They didn't think about him. They didn't think about his political future. They only saw it. They were using him, and I just said the word use. They used him, okay, to get out the council, and I think that's despicable, and that's where I'm going to leave it right there. That's where I stop and say, this young man had a great career ahead of him. He could have done great. He could have been another Stuart Jones, to be honest with you. He could, but he got corrupted, and he got listed, and I don't know what they told him, but boy, I tell you what, it won't be here. I mean, that ship sailed, and it shouldn't have been done.
No.
And I don't blame him. I blame them.
Absolutely. And again, these people that are doing all of this, there's a lot of them that don't live in District 3. That's the whole issue. They don't live in District 3. I think collectively I can come up with 3 that do live in the district that's a part of the group. There's about 3 of them. One of them was a former member of the Oconee Republican Party. And again, it's just like they get on the social media and they're trying to tell, well, this is good for District 3. They don't have any vested interest in District 3.
Correct me if I'm wrong. From what I understand, and I'm asking, I'm not telling.
Sure.
I'm just trying to restate what I think I've learned, and that's dangerous.
Okay.
That there's an issue in District 3 with development.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's number one. And they've been talking about an overlay. The current overlay that's been proposed by the Seneca City Council or the city in proposals, and it may come from the city administrator, I'm not really sure, doesn't seem to be palatable. Don kept pushing back on it months ago, saying, hey, I agree with the concept of an overlay, but he doesn't like the current one. Because
Correct.
It's telling the city is telling the county how they should zone.
Correct. And Don sat right here with Matt Durham, and we had this conversation several months ago, about a month and a half ago. Okay. The concept is great in theory. The concept is great because you do need to have some protections.
Well, buffer zone, yeah.
Buffer zone,
yeah.
Between at least a mile, half a mile in across the municipal overlay. But the problem is they want to take a whole 2 miles of it and start forcing it to meet their economic thing that they came up with in the comprehensive plan. And then the comprehensive plan for the city of Seneca, Kiwi School Road was listed as commercial corridor. That's already in their plan. So here they go to the school district, knock on the door, and ask to have the old Hamilton Career Center, the Bounty Line Education Campus. This is the administrator. They want to annex it. They had conversations with a couple of other folks down Kiwi School Road, including Collins Children's Home. They wanted to annex it. They wanted to annex Oconee Christian Academy, which is just down on that strip there on Kiwi School Road. Then they want to go across the railroad track, and bingo, here's the deal. 600 homes there on Old Walhalla Highway at the Tanglewood subdivision. 600 homes. There's your problem right there. It's just like the South Cove, the Sanctuary Cove, same thing. That whole deal was a disaster.
If you're looking for me to argue with you or
can't.
push back,
You
that's
can't.
why I'm staying.
No.
That's why I'm silent, Jeff.
No, you can't. There is no argument. This is
it's
what's
easily
happening.
perceived. That's why I'm looking at you like, okay, keep going, brother, because you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
The overlay as proposed is not conducive toward the county's goals
It's not.
of saying we need a buffer zone. It needs to be collaborative. It needs to be cooperative. It needs to be worked together. This was not this. This was a first cut. It wasn't done. It needs to go back. Now, like you said, in theory, it is a good idea, but there has to be certain guides and boundaries and things like this. And I think Don made a good point of that, saying, look, this is what he's in favor of. He's basically saying when we get there, we'll be okay. But right now, this step is in the wrong direction. It needs to go back. The South Cove, Sanctuary Cove component, there's going to be like one of those constantly.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
3,300 something homes tried to force it down before the moratorium went into effect. So what does that tell you?
That means people are rushing to do it because there's demand. To your point, the council on the county side is not looking to increase the tax doles at this point. They don't want to. They don't want to. They want to do what's right for the existing people.
But the city, on the other hand, has to because they're broke.
Now, okay.
I said it. And it's true.
Note to self and note to everyone else. Jeff said it on June 8th. I did not.
I said it.
Okay.
I said it last Thursday night.
Has it been in the paper yet? No, I'm asking.
That's a whole different show. You'll have to go back and listen to last Wednesday's show.
Okay.
Because I do a complete breakdown of how we got in this mess.
Okay. So, Jeff, has it been publicly stated in the paper that there's a revenue shortfall with the city of Seneca?
Well, let's just say this.
Okay.
There's an editorial blasting Dana Moore because he couldn't go along with the budget because it's way, way out there. You want to charge $15 per person, flat rate, to everybody. That's going to add $180-something to your water, but yet you're not going up on what needs to go up on. So you got people outside the city that's going to have to pay this extra $15 fee, but yet they're going to help pay for the power bill inside the city for Seneca Light and Water. The budget's horrible. Oh, here's another thing. Now that we're talking budgets, I'm glad we brought this up here real quick.
You stepped into this one,
I
brother.
did.
Okay,
But-
okay.
but-
I was like,
but
go ahead.
But here comes another one. And Wednesday night I played it. So Lakeisha Benson, there was an ordinance that Oconee County had just passed to incorporate Seneca's 911 system within the county. It passed on third reading, and in the agreement, the intercity agreement with the county, the city was going to pay $240,000 for the 911 service paid to Oconee County. Okay? Voted once, voted twice, approved on third reading. County. Lakeisha asked the city administrator, how much was that going to cost the city? This is where it went downhill. The city administrator said it wasn't going to cost the city anything. On video, it was no cost to the city of Seneca.
Pre or post the inner.
It was already voted on. The county voted on it. 200. It was an agreement that was reached. Apparently, Casey Bowling, the chief, was already up there. He spoke about it. He was in favor of it. He agreed that the city was $240,000. But yet, when Lakeisha asked the administrator, it's all on video, it wasn't going to cost anything. It wasn't going to cost the city nothing. By the way, there is no line item in the budget to cover that $240,000.
Where is it buried in the budget?
It's not in the budget.
It has to be in the budget.
It's not in the budget. I can assure you it's not in the budget. Just
Jeff,
okay. Just like the Fine Arts Center that opens in December,
Yes.
it's not in the budget. So where's the money coming from to run it? It's not in the budget.
Okay, wait a minute. You're telling me.
I'm telling you,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Hold on. I want to. What? We're about the 30-minute mark now.
Oh, we're at 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour. 1 hour mark. All right. All right. So let me get this straight.
Yes.
We have a building
Yes.
that is nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
We assume people are going to want to go in there in August in South Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? To do that, there has to be air conditioning, right? And that's a big building, right? Okay, so I assume that power bill is going to be mighty steep. I assume there's restrooms in there. Okay, so people are going to want to use facilities. I assume that there's going to be people in there to take tickets and things like that. Those are called salaries, Jeff.
You would suppose, but now they're talking about opening it in December. It's supposed to be ready to open up in December. Okay, you're still in the midst of a new budget year, the 26-27 budget, but you have no line item in there on operating cost of that Fine Arts Center. But it is official. You do not have the $240,000 that the county has the agreement. The county says $240,000. It is not in the budget. But you also have another city council member that made the statement, that's not the budget that was presented Tuesday night. That's not the budget he saw. There's more to this. Barry,
Yeah, I think
Barry,
we're going to.
Barry,
I think we're okay.
you need to go back and watch my show, and then it tells
All right,
you
well,
everything.
no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do this.
No, but I'm telling you, you need to go back
Oh,
later on.
I will. Oh, well, I will. And I'm asking your audience to go back if you missed that one to do this because in our future podcast together,
Yes.
we're going to talk. We're going to have a podcast just on municipalities acting badly. Right now, we're talking about
Yeah.
groups that are acting badly.
But again, it coincides that they're trying to support a candidate. The city is. They're trying to put a candidate as a puppet string.
Exactly, so they can manipulate, but they don't have oversight.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, let's go ahead. We're coming up to about
Yeah.
the hour of the show. Again, tomorrow is very important.
Yes.
It is an election.
Yes.
Whether you vote Democrat, Republican, we hope you vote Republican. But go vote. You need to get out and vote. Because if you don't, I don't want to sit here and say, bitch and complain, well, he didn't win. You have to vote.
It's not only your voice, Jeff. It is your obligation as a citizen. And I know that people say if you don't vote, you cannot complain. That's not what we're saying. We're saying your voice is important. Your ideas, you as an individual, are important. This is the first step to telling the elected officials what is important to you. So you're right. You're right. It is important whether you vote for Republican, Democrat. It really doesn't matter. What matters is you stepped up and you took your citizen obligations.
And you also, if you're not sure where to vote, South Carolina, scvotes.com, .org it is, has everything there. You can find your precinct. Matter of fact, you can call the election office up there. Miss Joy can take care of you and help you out there.
They do a fantastic job.
They
by the way.
do, and the early voting was great this year.
How long did it take you to vote?
4 minutes.
Me too.
It took me about 4 minutes. I went up there on, Monday, the first day, and drove up to the county office, got in, walked in, presented ID. They checked me in, voted, and walked right out the door. So
It took me about 7 minutes because the reason why is I was cracking jokes with them the entire time and having fun with them. And it was a great experience. And I think that is one of the treasures of Oconee County is that we don't have lines out the door like you've seen at other places around here.
Right.
But I have a funny feeling tomorrow when those you're going to have a lot of people who want their voice heard, and that I'm very proud of everyone who's taking the time tomorrow to vote. So I look forward to it. Where are you doing your watch party at?
I'm doing it right here because I'm going to do dual purpose. We're also going to do the election results, but I'm also going to be following. They're actually having a city council meeting Tuesday night, budget second reading.
Well, I may call in.
Yeah, I'm going to do it right here. And again, if folks want to get involved with the Oconee Republican Party,
just go to OconeeRepublicans.com, or you can go to the Facebook page, the Oconee County Republican page, the official one. Look us up. We'd love to have you, and we look forward to it.
Now, shake my hand.
All right, now I can. Thank
All
you,
right,
brother.
very good. Barry Sanders joined us here this, well, I guess you could say it's this evening here.
Primary Eve.
Primary Eve here on this Monday. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow, we will start at 6 p.m. tomorrow evening because we're going to follow the election results, but we're also going to dig into the city council meeting because the second reading of the budget is coming up for tomorrow evening at the city of Seneca. I want to thank Barry for joining us. I want to thank you for watching here as we're going to wrap up this edition of the Podster with Jazzy Jeff show, available at jazzyjeffpodster.com and also on social media as well at Facebook. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you.